Hey guys, how's everyone doing? So, today is Thursday, the 11th of October 2018. Time is 11 a.m. here in the UK. Looking at an AUD daily chart. In today's analysis, we're going to be looking for price action setups on all of these pairs listed to the right here. Well, most of them, probably not all of them. So when I say price action setups, I mean reversals, continuations, all kinds of setups. So, we're going to kick things off with some news, see what news is happening today. So it looks like the GBP news is already over. That stuff's done. So today we got this Treasury currency report is still not out. But today the important stuff we got, I guess, if you want to call it important, is the CPI and the core CPI. I'm not really too bothered with these unless I'm going to be in any 1 hour or lower chart trades. So if I'm on 1 hour or lower, thanks Edward, I remembered this time. Yeah, if we're going to be 1 hour or lower, then I would be a bit concerned about this. But other than that, yeah, not too bothered. I know it's marked as red on Forex Factory, but that doesn't really mean anything. So, yeah, I'm just going to trade through those. A lot of people think it's marked as red on Forex Factory. That means I have to avoid it. But they don't even think about what red means and what are the metrics used to collect this data. It says high impact, right? When you hover over it, it says high impact expected. What does that mean? High impact on the 1 minute chart? High impact on the monthly chart? High impact on the daily chart? And what's high impact defined as? Is it a 100 pip move? Is it a 1,000 pip move? You have no actual definition as to what high impact means. So you can't just say, oh, high impact, I'm going to stay out of the market. If you're trading the daily, most of these red reports usually don't move the market at all, or any significant amount that you would even care about. If you're trading the 1 minute chart, then yeah, these can be big moves and they can take you out of trades. I'm explaining this because I got a few emails from people saying you trade through high impact reports, but Forex Factory says they're high impact, so I don't trade them. But you just need to stop and think for a second. What does high impact mean, and how are they judging something as high impact? What are they basing this on? They don't tell us. As far as I know, they don't tell us. Maybe they do. Maybe it's somewhere on the website. They say how we judge reports as high impact. But my first question is, what time frame is it high impact on? Because something that's high impact on the 1 minute chart is not necessarily high impact on the daily chart. Anyway, that's out of the way. I explained that. Let's get into the actual analysis, guys. AUDJPY, nothing much going on here, guys. AUD USD, this one also is just in this kind of tight range, isn't it? It's bouncing up and down lately between this resistance area and around about this low here. Yeah, not really too bothered with this right now. Euro AUD looked like it was pulling down from this resistance area. It's come back up, stalling out again on the resistance area. But again, there's no real clear setup there. EURGBP is just in between support resistance. No clear setup there. EURGBP, this one, anyone in this long? I shared this in yesterday's analysis. Yesterday's analysis was members only. So all you guys who are in here live will have seen it, but it wasn't posted publicly to YouTube because we discussed some members only stuff. You're in, Ash? Anyone else in? Well, I think this was the one we discussed yesterday. Wait, let me double check on the forum. I can't remember if I mentioned it in the analysis. I think I did. We did? All right, nice. Yeah, so this one's going kind of well. Well, I mean, kind of well. I'm exaggerating here. This pair is, or this trade rather, is pushing up right now, but this is counter to a strong move down. So you got to be very careful with this in terms of your target and all that. You don't want to push that target too far because you're countering a very strong move. Well, I mean, you guys know the drill. It's a counter trend reversal, so you just want to play it safe. Go for a 1.5R. Then, depending on how it's moving, if it's pushing up quickly, then you can extend that. If it's a slow crawl up to that level, then just take out your profit. You want it to enter, but you have resistance placed. This, yeah, I saw it. I'm not really sure what it means. Percentage gain since the start of the day? No, but that makes no sense because it's moved up. Yeah, I don't know. I'll look into it. I just don't get it because it's 0.1%. 0.1% is a very small amount, so... Whatever. I'm sure someone will be able to tell me. Yeah, so just play it safe with this trade. Once it gets up to its initial target, or gets close. So what you want to do, essentially, is wherever your initial target is. So it should be at 1.5R, but wherever your entry is going to determine where that target actually is, of course, and where your stop loss is. Set an alarm like, I don't know, 10, 20 pips before it. Set your alarm a decent way before it. So on this pair, it's a bit of a slow mover, so yeah, 10 pips will be plenty. That'll give you plenty of time. So do like 10 pips before it, and once that alarm is hit, you'll be able to come back and see what's going on. So if it's moved up here quite fast, if it's been a strong push up, then you might want to leave that open and let it run up a bit further. But if it's like that, and then eventually it hits, there's no reason to keep it open. Yeah, I would say to be careful on that target, Edward. Going for 2R right off the bat is just somewhat risky on a trade like this. simply because it's countering a very strong trend. So I would advise a more like, I don't know what the word is, but a tiered approach kind of thing. Let it, like I said, set your original target a bit lower and extend it if it makes sense to extend it based on the price action. That would be my recommendation, but up to you in the end. EURGBP. What is my cat eating? I think my cat's chewing on plastic again. Cats. I need to go stop that from happening, so give me a second, guys. Sorry about that, I'm back. My cat thinks plastic is food. Right. Euro USD. Looks like it's breaking through this resistance area here. It broke below it. Looks like it's breaking back through it. There's nothing really... There's no clear trade that I'd want to take here. It's just this area is messy. Ideal situation would be that it gets back into this range and then it just keeps ranging because there's a lot of profit to be made in this range on Euro USD, which is what we were doing while it was in there. GBPUSD, these are areas that are really close together, but this is just a mess of support resistance, so I've placed the areas that I see there. GBPUSD, I think some people might be long here. Am I correct in saying that? I don't know who entered this one. Oof, that's dropping, isn't it? No one's long? Okay, cool. GBPCAD shot up above resistance. Nothing much going on there. GBP, JPY, yeah. There's some trading to be done here, but it's lower time frame trading. Do keep an eye on the forum section for scalp/day trades. There's a forum section for that now, where we're trading the lower time frames. We've been having a great time trading GBP, JPY this week. It's been like just a bunch of successful trades with this one. So if you're a little bit bored this week with the higher time frames, which you probably are because there hasn't really been that much interesting stuff happening on the higher time frames, do check out the new forum section because that section's exciting. There's loads of stuff happening there. GBP, JPY is going really well, and I think there's strong potential for there to be another trade there today on the lower time frames. GBPUSD, this one's somewhat interesting. I've just replaced my GBPUSD support resistance areas. I've been messing around with them. Now we got indecision forming on top of this area. Not the best indecision candle right now. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on GBPUSD. I want to see if it stalls out at the end of the day, if it stalls out on this resistance area. If it does, tomorrow I am going to be looking to enter short on GBPUSD. New Zealand USD, this one's still heading up. Anyone still long on this one? We took a long here at the start of the week. But it just like went up, down, up, down. It's not really been going that well. We haven't seen that much movement this week on a lot of pairs. Not all pairs. There has been some moves, of course, but a lot of them have just kind of sucked. No one's still in this? Fair enough. Well, for those of you who are, but just aren't in the room, obviously hold on to this one. Hold on at least till the next resistance area. USDCAD, all right, we got some interesting stuff happening on USDCAD also. USDCAD is sitting on top of a resistance area. It's hit this resistance area, now it's stalling out pretty heavily. There is potential for a short trade here. But again, it's not going to be until the close of this candle at least. So if you want to enter on the 12-hour, I guess you could enter today before the close of the candle. But if you want to wait for the daily, then you're going to have to wait for the close of the daily. And then the next candle is where we would start looking for an entry. Would it be a continuation or a reversal for USD-CAD? I mean, sometimes you just can't really define it properly, simply because if you look at this, you could argue, yes, it's in a downtrend, but this is a very crappy downtrend. I wouldn't really be trading this as a continuation. Yeah, there is no real, like, it's just not a really good trend. If you zoom out enough, you can make the argument that, yeah, this is overall trending down. So you could say, okay, this is a continuation trade, but what does that actually mean? Does that mean that we should go short and have a huge target because it's technically trending down? Oh, you got to look at the strength of the trend too for that. If we're going short in a very, very strong bearish trend, then yeah, let's have a bigger target there. Let's go crazy. But if the trend is as weak as this, and then you look to the left and you've got just a bunch of minor support resistance here, that's probably going to slow this down dramatically. Yeah. Not really too bothered with having a crazy target on this. I just don't really see it. I don't really see it trending down that quickly based on how weak this trend has been. USDCHF broken above resistance. Again, I've been messing around with these support resistance areas, so they might look a little different to yesterday's. They're going to be updated on the site today. It's broken through this resistance area, coming back down, testing it. Could look for a continuation here. I'm not obviously not crazy about this one because of that big lower wick. It's going to make our stop loss placement hard. It's worth watching, but this one I'm really kind of iffy about. But that being said, we are seeing the beginnings of a continuation setup here. The beginnings of a continuation setup. Strong bullish trend, pullback to support. It's the beginnings, but this one's probably not going to trigger until at least Friday, but more likely Monday, I would say. If it even triggers, I mean, it could very well just go boom and shoot down through here. But right now it is showing some signs of stalling out on this support area. So we are seeing some pretty decent signs. The 12-hour, like I was saying, it's going to be a bit tricky. I think the daily is the best bet here. You could technically, if you really want to get into this trade, if you're dying to get into it, you could look at some of the lower time frames, but I'm going to stick with the daily, personally. I might go with the 12-hour, but yeah, I don't want to get faked out on this on the lower time frames. So we'll see how this plays out. We'll see if it continues to stall on this area, and if it does, we can look for a potential long continuation. USDJPY is just dropping down towards support, so nothing much going on there. Euro New Zealand. Well, what happened to my support resistance areas? I redid them for Euro New Zealand. I think some of my support resistance area updates got undone. The worst thing about TradingView, if you close the browser and it hasn't saved, and the autosave feature just, it doesn't seem to happen often enough. But anyway, it doesn't matter. There's nothing happening on Euro New Zealand, and CAD JPY has dropped down to the support area. It's not quite at support though, so I'm not really looking for anything there, and it's not really a pair I would commonly trade anyway. Right, so I think that wraps it up for the analysis, guys. Let's do a quick summary. EURGBP, open trade right now, kind of started to move in our direction, but you know, it's got a decent way to go yet. Be mindful of your target with this one, simply because you are trading against a very strong bearish move. I'm not saying not to have a target up at the next resistance area. I'm just saying you got to be a bit careful with it. Use alarms to your advantage. Play it smart. Exit if it's a slow move, a slow crawl up. GBPUSD price is stalling out on this resistance area, so we are looking for a potential short from here. But right now, it would be a bit of a tricky trade. Yeah, just watch it on the 12-hour, the daily. We want to see this candle close on the daily, and then we can go from there. USDCAD, I want to see again this candle close on the daily, and then we can go from there. It looks like a potential short reversal. Thing is that you need to pay attention to when you get conflicting signals on correlated pairs. So these are negatively correlated pairs. We're getting shorts on both these pairs, so that can be a bit tricky. In the end, we're probably going to only take one of these shorts, because taking both of them might not be the best idea, as they're negatively correlated. And also, the other thing is, USDCAD and USDCHF are positively correlated, and we're looking for a potential long trade here. So I would say the weak link is USDCAD, and this one, I would not be surprised if we get a move like that. Because, yeah, these two are conflicting, and these two are conflicting. So, that wraps it up for the analysis, guys. Are there any questions? Going back to EURGBP, could you argue that there's resistance at around about 0.8773? There's just a huge amount of mess at 0.8873. This area was insanely messy. You could argue that there's some resistance there, but price smashed right through it on its last attempt. You could definitely argue that there's resistance there, but with all this mess through here, support resistance just becomes really, really difficult to place if you want to look at every single bounce, because there's just so many bounces. So I went with the clearest ones, which is often the best move with support resistance. The clearest ones are down here, down here. So basically the top and bottom of this range, those were the clearest ones to me. Yeah. That cat's fine, just wanted out of the room. Got bored of being in this room, so I had to let him out. I agree with you though, Marcus. There definitely was bounces all through here, but the problem is, this was a point in which EURGBP was I don't know what the word is, was moving sideways, was in a choppy period. So if we start placing support resistance at every place it's had significant bounces through here, through this choppy period it was in for quite some time, then we're just going to have a whole load of support resistance through here. And it seems like it's moved away from that choppy period. It's no longer in a kind of choppy market. It's more moving like it should. So all that stuff from the choppy period, I'm going to just go with the strongest of the areas, or the most obvious of the ones, and the most recent ones, and gonna take my trades based on those. Yeah, it's a shift in market conditions for EURGBP, certainly. Started to move a lot more smoothly now. You could see how it was moving before, these crazy wicks up and down, and the bodies were mostly lined up. They never really went anywhere. I mean, obviously there are points where it went dropped down, dropped up, but there's a lot of that kind of sideways movement with the big wicks. It would drop down one day, then go straight back to where it was, and it would just stay in a kind of line and just have these huge wicks. But now we're getting like much clearer movements. Any other questions, guys? With the constant barrage of news, positive and negative Brexit, would you agree that it's what's driving the patterns? Yeah, I mean, of course, the Brexit news is having a huge effect on EURGBP. It's having an effect on all GBP pairs and all Euro pairs, and when you combine the two, it's having a pretty crazy effect. It's definitely a difficult pair to trade at the moment. All right, it looks like that's it for the questions though, guys. So I'm going to wrap this thing up. Thank you for attending. I'll obviously see you guys who are here live on the forum, and to everyone else who's just watching on YouTube. I'll see you guys for next week's analysis. There's going to be analysis is back to normal next week. We're going to be doing Tuesday and Thursday posted to YouTube. There was no Tuesday analysis this week because there was no public Tuesday analysis because most of the analysis was taken up with discussing some of the newer setups we're trading, some of the members only setups. So that analysis was kept private. But yeah, next week we'll be back to normal with analysis. We'll be doing a Tuesday analysis publicly, Wednesday for members only, and Thursday publicly again. So thank you guys for attending, and I'll see you on the forum.